Hello everyone. Once again, a little housekeeping, just a reminder, these videos are currently getting shadow banned on TikTok. So if you see this and you want to make sure you get these regularly, pop over to my link tree. It is on my TikTok profile and sign up either to my YouTube or my Substack. These videos are getting posted daily on both of those precisely for that reason, because I know that there is no relying on one particular channel to keep the content safe and going. So here we go. So back to the news. We already know that the Easter truce was not really a truce for all intents and purposes. So this article on the Guardian website is 18 hours old. So the information about how many times Russians have violated the truce is already outdated, and I'm going to follow up on that in just a couple of minutes. The truce lasted only 32 hours, and again, it was, apparently too much to ask of Russia to not be a bunch of shitheads during this time. This is what I'm talking about when I said, the Ukraine's general staff reported 2,299 ceasefire violations. No. Wait, there is more. Again, we'll talk about it in a moment. Now, Russia is complaining that Ukraine had violated the ceasefire too. Now, what I would like to point out is that Ukraine had to defend against the strikes delivered by Russia. And remember, I told you, there were strikes against public transportation. There were strikes against civilian targets. What was Ukraine supposed to do? They had to use weapons to shoot those things down. Also, Ukraine has brought a detailed list of what got hit where and by what. Russia has provided no evidence whatsoever of any violations of the truce by Ukraine, nothing that can be verified by the independent sources. Now, we do have one bit of good news, and it doesn't come from Ukraine, it comes from Hungary. Viktor Orban is out. Not only is he out, he got pummeled. He got kicked out spectacularly by his opponent, Peter Magyar. And there's some interesting points about Magyar. We're going to talk about this in a moment. But Zelensky very courteously congratulated Magyar on his victory. And this is tremendously important because I know I expressed frustration many times over the fact that under Orban's leadership, Hungary, which is the member of the EU and member of NATO, basically became like an enemy within for both of those, because it had spent years undermining NATO and European policies and basically sucking up to Russia. Orban literally told Putin that he would be available to him at his disposal at any time. I mean, come on. Kremlin spokesperson says that Russia needs to take control of the part of the Donetsk region that they still haven't managed to take, and I'm like, good luck, fuckers. They have been trying to take that bit of land for a long time. That area actually has been in action since 2014. So in the last 12 years, they couldn't take all of the Donetsk region. So, no. Now, here's this article here is only 2 hours old. And remember, I told you in the past, this timestamps are extremely important. So first of all, Ukrainian troops had to pull back somewhat in the eastern Sumy region. I urge everybody not to freak out. This has happened in the past. These small movements back and forth has happened in the past. Okay? So this doesn't mean they're leaving Sumy. It doesn't mean that they're abandoning the Sumy region. likely this is temporary. And again, the amount of land we're talking about is small. Now, the fact that Sumy region continues getting pounded, no, that is not a good thing. Sumy is one of the areas that is getting unimaginable amount of fire, specifically against civilian targets. But as I said, this is a small adjustment. Remember, there are multiple sources watching that front line by the minute. And as of right now, there have been no significant breakthroughs from the Russian troops. Here's the update I was telling you. After all it was said and done, Russia violated the ceasefire 10,721 times in 32 hours. For 32 hours, they couldn't just sit on their hands and not kill people. And remember, Ukraine had extended multiple offers to Russia to extend this ceasefire if it held. It didn't hold. To try and do something. No. Kremlin's reply was, you're going to have to surrender if you want that. So, again, to everyone who says, oh, you have to negotiate, you have to bring your goodwill and sit down at the table and hug and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. This is what you guys are talking about. This is whom we're up against. As I mentioned yesterday, attacks were carried out by Russia pretty much across all the major areas, including my native Zaporizhia region. That was where they attacked a convoy of civilian vehicles trying to get people out and farther away from the front line. Now, going back to Hungary, so I've brought up Budapest Memorandum several times, and I don't know if people twigged that it's Budapest as in capital of Hungary. So I'm glad that I'm finally not the only person bringing it up, because after Magyar held a press conference following his victory, he said, if someone says this, no matter how long Fidesz politicians have said similar things, you should ask him, what would happen if Russia attacked Hungary? What Hungarian county would they give up? This is outrageous, cynical talk, unworthy of our 1956 heroes and freedom fighters. I am so happy that he brought this up. Finally, somebody who remembers history. Finally. Because Hungary, too, has been attacked by the Soviet Union. Hungary, too, had its independence, its safety as a nation threatened by the Soviet Union. They remember, and again, I'm glad that they now have a prime minister who is not shy to bring that up. I'm so glad about this, because this is how dangerous Orban's position was. This is what that was like. It's completely erasing whatever was done to Hungary as an independent nation. Instead of relating to Ukraine and Ukraine's fight for independence, he basically turned entirely into a Russia's spy. Something to keep in mind. History is important. More to come.